Hi everyone. In this video, we'll discuss about the Kanban board features. So in my last video, we talked about the basics of TFS Kanban board. So in this video, we'll discuss about the advanced features or the customization of Kanban board. So how to customize a Kanban board to suit my requirement or my process requirement, right? Basically, like mapping the flow of your team like let's say you have a user story and it has got certain stages, and the same thing is available in Kanban board, but you may be following a little bit different workflow. So instead of customizing the entire things, you can just go and customize the Kanban board, add more columns, and you can move your user story or any card from one column to another column. So it's not like mandatory that you should have same states or stages in your work item and to match to the Kanban board, right? So you can have like 3 or 4 states in work item, but you can have many columns or many states in Kanban board to track it at a granular level. Then we'll see what is or how to put work in progress limit. In the last video we discussed what is the importance of WIP limits. In this video we'll see how to put a WIP limit for a particular column. So work in progress limit constraints the for a particular column, like in a particular column we should have 5 number of items, right? Like committed, let's talk about a committed column. So we should have any point in time my team should be having only 5 items in the committed column. With this, what we can achieve is we can complete the existing task rather than having more tasks added to my bucket, right? So when I put a constraint, the WIP limit, so when I put more items, okay, beyond whatever is the limit set, it will turn into red, so showing that my team is adding more work than completing the existing work. Okay, then we'll talk about definition of done. So because whenever we say I have approved or I have reviewed or I have completed the development, right? So or I have completed the work, there should be some definition of done. So when I say I have done the work, so what I have done, what I have performed to make this work complete. Like let's talk about I have done the development. So for that I should have written a code, then I should have written unit test, I should have documented so many things. Basically acceptance criterias. I can put these acceptance criterias or definition of done in the Kanban board itself. Then when we specify boards, when we specify a column or a state, okay, let's say analysis state or committed states or development state, it doesn't really give us an idea whether it is the development is done and it is the items is waiting for to be picked for testing or next process, or it is still in progress, right? When you say analysis phase, so we don't know whether analysis is done or it's still in progress. So in Kanban board we can split a particular column or a state or a stage, right? Like analysis or design or development into doing and done. So when you say doing, so it is like no, still in progress, right? When it says done, okay, I have completed the work, then now the item is waiting for the next column or next stage to be worked on. That is splitting the columns. Then whether we have to show bugs in the backlog page or in the Kanban board or not. So this setting is easy now. In earlier versions of TFS, it was very difficult. We have to go and modify the XML files of process config, then import it back to TFS. But now it is just a button click. So through UI, I can go and choose whether I want bug to be part of a requirement, like treated as a requirement, or it should be treated as a task, or it shouldn't be included in my backlog at all. And coming to Swimlanes, so this is also very important feature available in TFS Kanban board. So in the last video we discussed about what is swim lane. So in this video we'll see how to add a new swim lane and how to use it in my Kanban board, right? So Swimlanes are basically helps us to categorize the work. So let's say I have got so many items in analyze stage or committed stage or in progress state, but I want to group them into let's say high priority work, right, or low priority work, or you know I can park it now for some time and I can take it later, blocked work kind of thing, or it can be any grouping I want to do. So I can use swim lanes for that. So it's easy to visualize using swim lanes in Kanban board. So in this video we'll see how to add a new swim lane or how to rename an existing swim lane or Kanban column inline, so we don't have to again open so many windows then go and rename. Inline, just click on the name of the swim lane or a Kanban column and rename it. Then the most important thing is querying on the Kanban columns, right? Because we would have added so many columns in my Kanban board, but I want to query and get, like, let's say there are lots of work items available in the Kanban board, but I query on a Kanban board and see how many items are in approved state, okay, and under high priority, right? So all these things is possible. So let's see how to do it one by one. So now let's see how to add a new Kanban column and how to move items to that Kanban column. So this is my home page. So I'm connected to a sample or a fictional team project, and under that I've connected to a particular team called Fabric and Fiber Web team. So let me click on board. So this will take me to the Kanban board. So we can see the Kanban board now. It has already got states like new, analyzed, approved, committed, and done. So let's see how to add a new column here, maybe after committed. So for that I have to click on this configure settings at the top right side corner. So I have search button, then make it full screen mode, and the configure settings button. So let me click on that. So this gets me the entire wizard where I can customize my Kanban board. So we're not going to the other details like card section, we are going to the board now. So because in this video we will be discussing about Kanban board. So let me go to this column section under board, and I get an option to create a new column. So I have to just click on this plus mark. So where I want to do it, so maybe I want to do it here. So let me click on new column. So maybe I want to do it after committed. Okay, so this is my new column. So before done, okay, so I want to give a name for it. I'll say dev in progress. Okay, then to which state it should be mapped, because we know, right? So we are just creating columns here. So but the work item may have only 3 or 4 states or workflow stages, but in Kanban board I can create many columns and move the items from one column to another column. So here let me put map the state to committed. Okay, so save and close. So we can see now after committed we have one more column called as dev in progress, right? Now I can move from committed to dev in progress. Okay, now if you see the history of the work item, you will get that. So you can see state is still committed, but if you see this new value board column field, it's in now dev in progress. Earlier it was in committed. Okay, so this is how you go and create a new column in the Kanban board. So let's see other features like work in progress limit, then definition of done, and other things. So let me again go back to the configure settings. Go back to the boards, then to dev in progress. So now if I want to delete any of the column I created, I can go and click on this ellipse button and say delete, or I can either move or left, right? I can do that. Now this is the column name. So here you can see that work in progress, right? So by default it is set to 5. I can change it. I can say my team can take 10 items in the dev column or a stage, or if I specify 0, then there is no limit as such, right? So I can set 10. So now you can see it is 5. After I do a save and close, you can see it will changes to 10, right? So now whether I want to split the column into doing and done. Okay, so we discussed, right? So if the item says it's in dev in progress, but I don't know whether it is already completed the development activities, or it is still in the progress stage, right? So I can go for split columns. So I want to see that. So this anyway we saw how to map this column to the particular state. Next is definition of done, right? So this will help us to track down, like when I'm saying a work is done, so what I mean to say is I have completed all these things, like all the activities which is defined in definition of done, like completed writing code, completed writing unit test, documented the scenario, anything whatever is required, for the item to be made completed or done. So I can put all those criterias here. Okay, so what we saw now is how to set work in progress limit for a particular column. If we set it is 0, then there is no limit, so we can set a particular value. Then how to split a column into doing and done, so that I can at a granular level I can see whether the activity which is in that particular column is it completed waiting for the next thing to happen, or it is still in progress. The next thing is definition of done, where I can give the acceptance criteria. So like when I'm saying I have completed the work, it means I have done all these activities, right? So we set work in progress limit, we said that we want to split the column into doing and done, and we have defined the acceptance criteria. So let me save and close, and you can see doing and done, I've got two columns under this. So I split the column, and work in progress limit is set to 10, right? And I've got the definition of done for this particular column. Now I can move items, and I can move items from doing to done state. Okay, and you can see it is increasing. Now we'll see how to treat a bug item in backlog or Kanban board, right? In backlog page or Kanban board. So whether it should be treated as a requirement or a task, or we don't want bug to be included, right? So for that again I have to go to this configure settings, right? Then click on this last link under general working with bugs. Then I have to choose based on my requirement. I have to choose whether the bug should be treated as the product backlog item or requirement. So I'll choose the first option, bugs appear on the backlogs and boards along with the requirements. Or I want to treat bug as a task item, so I can choose this, bugs appear on the backlogs and boards with the task. Or I don't want bug, I don't want bug to be appear on the backlog board or backlog page or Kanban board. Okay, so now currently I have set bugs to be available in the Kanban board and treated as a requirement. Okay, so if you go to this backlog page also, you can see that. Now let's see how to add a new swim lane, right? So if you see, these are the swim lanes. So I have categorized my activities under swim lanes. So let me click on this. So whatever items are there under analyzed, approved, committed, or dev in progress, I can group it. So whether I have items in expedite, that is just a name I've given. So means high priority or standard, okay, or default. So let me see how to create a new swim lane here and add items to that swim lane. So for that I have to just click on this, configure settings again. Then under board I have to click on swim lanes. Okay, so now we have got three things: expedite, standard, and default. So I can create a new swim lane. It's a high risk items, right? I want to put all these things under one grouping, right? So whether it should be available in the top or in the second or in the third or in the bottom. So I can define that. Okay, now let me save and close. Okay, now I've got a new swim lane. Right, now I can add items to this new swim lane called high risk. Then I can make it so you can see it is turned red because I've got more than 5 items, so it has turned red. Okay, at any point it should be 5 or less than 5 items in my analyzed column. It can be in any other swim lanes, but total it should be 5 at the column level. Okay, so this was how to create a swim lane, right? Now if I want to rename the name of it, so one workaround, so I have to go to swim lanes, then I can change a name here. Okay, but it's a lengthy process. So there's a inline, modifying, renaming the swim lanes. So I can just click on this and modify it. So I can modify or rename the swim lanes inline, okay, or even the columns. So I can rename the columns. So we saw how to create a new swim lane, then how to rename the swim lane inline, and how to rename a column inline also. And the same options are available under configure settings. Then if I go to the columns, I can rename the columns here, or I can rename the swim lanes, or else the inline option. Now let's see how to query these Kanban, both columns and swim lanes, right? How to use it in queries. So let me go to the query section. Let me just open it in the new tab. And let me go and create a new query. Let me add a new clause called as board column, and let me select values. Let's say approved the columns. So let me just check here how many items are in approved column. So I've got so many items, that is total 13 items under approved column. So if I go to the approved column, so I have got 2, then 6, 7, yeah, so 13 items are available in approved column, right? So now let me add one more clause and say I want to see all the items under approved column plus under expedite swim lane, right? So I get only 4 items under expedite. So under expedite I have got only 4 items under approved. Same way I want to check how many items are done from the approved state, right? So for that again I can add board column and say board column done is equal to true. So what it means is under approved how many items are in done, that is the split column, right? And in swimlane expedite. So there's only one item which is in approved column, then in expedite swim lane, and it is in done state. This one, right? Based on popularity. Yeah, same item. So you can see now how I can use the Kanban board fields in my work item queries, and I can filter out items, right? So now I can save this and have a new query out of this. So that's all in this video. So what we saw is how to create a new Kanban column in the Kanban board, right? And how to set different settings like work in progress, then how to do a split column, that is doing and done, then how to define a definition of done, correct? Then we saw how to use these fields in my work item queries, right? And also we saw, we observed the work in progress limit turns red when more items are added. So thanks for watching this video. So I'll come up with the next video on customizing the cards, right? So those options are available. So let me just have a quick glance. So if you go to this card section, so there are many options: field, customization, styles, tag coloring. So all these things I will cover in the next video. Thank you for watching.